I wanted to do this slight tutorial on cinematic lighting because I feel it can help others get started as well. Usually when us artists start out on lighting, we just want to learn to make it look nice before going hard on getting a style out of it. But eventually, the question of, how the fuck do I do that, comes up when looking at others' art. And it's usually cinematic lighting, where everything is so drastic and lush, and the only answers given that we understand is that it's intentional. But intentional how? How do we get to a point where we can intend to do it? Flailing lights around? Like, what do you do to get it to be intentional? Well, in this test pick I did, and after quite a bit of research, I found there's a mental barrier you have to get past. And it's the one you first learned when making your lighting look nice. The one where you put up a few lights because they should be there, and like a sun should be out the window. You know, sensible stuff. So these tutorials I'll link in the description below help me learn that cinematic lighting isn't realism like that. It's hyper or fantasy realism. And I highly suggest you watch them for more techniques to try out with more details, as this video is more about helping you break through the cinematic lighting thought process that took me a long time to kind of sink in until a certain phrase helped make it click to my brain. Now let's get into this. First of all, what you think is real pretty much isn't in this shot. Let's start with the sun from the outside. That's actually a fill/rectangle light facing the window set really bright. The light going into the room is another fill light in the reverse direction. I had to do this because the window asset doesn't actually have any transparency. It's all together in one texture, so I couldn't really fix it. It's also the unintentional backside of the asset. Moving to the side hallway, the spreading of light is faked too. If I turn off the two spotlights here, then you'll see the hallway turn mostly to shadow. It's like bending light to force making it look good. One spotlight is focused on the wall, as if the light reached it because I don't want it to be too dark, and the other down the hallway to make it seem more epically cast from the window. I'm pretty sure I can do this with less lights, but I'm still learning. Next are the lamps on the tables. Their light doesn't reach shit. What you see on Michiru's shoes is a spotlight of what you think is the light from the table. An important aspect of cinematic lighting is that the placement of it is still somewhat grounded in reality. It's enhancing reality. So you can't just throw up lights anywhere if it don't make too much sense. And these spotlights are actually from the cell shader I use now on my characters since the Diane vid. A regular light would have worked too, and probably gotten a nice shadow from the ladder instead of only lighting the character, but I was just testing things out. Even though this shot is possible without the cell shader, I have been learning how it can control shadow edges and to make those look more painted and something for like a style I want to go for. On the second floor, I actually do have one nonsensical light in order to make the character shadows look nice from the front. Plus, you might think that there just might be another candle coming from its location. Speaking of candles, the point lights on them are quite interesting, as they aren't directly on the candles. Instead, they're off to the side where the lighting from the candle might look best. There's a spotlight in the center, whose purpose is to give Michiru a sick shadow above her that kinda might make sense, so that the top area wouldn't look so boringly dark. Lastly, there's one last fill light from the door to make Michiru's shadows stand out from the shadows around her. Make her stand out from the background. Helps brighten her up a bit for the camera more naturally than just adjusting her materials to be brighter. Oh, recently I've been checking out this thing called Light Profiles. There's a free add-on for them on the UE4 marketplace, and what they do is shape light as if it came from an object. Like this car light in Gigantivit used it to make the light more car lighty. I've tried them out in multiple areas lately, but they seem best when paired with objects they meaningfully attach to, like a flashlight. I usually do use a LUT pack to help color a shot, but I found it unnecessary here. Still, will link my favorite ones below. And so now we're on to faked fog and light cards. The light shafts are actually 2D textures, and the dusty corners are also, well, dusty, flat textures. Well, really helps make the place feel older. So to summarize, cinematic lighting is more glorified lighting and not trying to be realistic. Like with one sun trying to be as good for an entire landscape. You need to do a lot more to make the shadows interesting and then bend light to your will. It's kind of like making every inch of the shot as epic as you possibly can.